There's a reason people say Chartres Cathedral isn't just a cathedral. It's a code in stone. No blueprints, no signatures, just a structure so perfect, so strange, and so spiritually charged, feels like it wasn't built, it was summoned. I'm James, but online I go by Andrade. In this series, I travel sometimes in person, sometimes through deep dives like this, to the world's most iconic and enigmatic landmarks. As I sketch them live, this one in watercolor, we uncover not just their architecture and history, but also their hidden symbols, strange legends, and even the conspiracies that make them truly unforgettable. This episode, we're decoding the Chartres Cathedral, a building untouched for centuries, sitting on a site older than Christianity itself. Pagan roots, sacred geometry, cosmic math, and stained glass window that might be transmitting something. Let's see what's really buried in these stones. Chartres has been a sacred site since the Roman era, with records of early Christian worship around the 4th century right by a Gallo-Roman wall. That ancient sanctuary gave way to a succession of churches repeatedly destroyed by fire and Viking incursions, only to be rebuilt again and again. Though each reconstruction, the site's spiritual importance only deepened, layering meaning into its very bedrock. In 876, the cathedral acquired its most famous relic, the Sancta Camicia, believed to be the tunic worn by the Virgin Mary at Christ's birth. Legends say that the relic was hidden and miraculously preserved during the devastating 1194 fire, inspiring a wave of donations across Europe to rebuild, even before the ashes had cooled. That post-fire rebuilding was astonishing in its speed and scope. From 1194 to around 1220, a mere 26 years, builders erected what we now recognize as the peak of high Gothic style, complete with flying buttresses, soaring naves, and over 176 original stained glass windows. The design was so unified and consistent that it feels like a medieval blueprint, but assembled from thousands of stones by human hands. Beneath the nave's soaring arches lies one of the surviving elements from earlier constructions, the crypt, and west portal from the Romanesque cathedral. These anchors stayed firm through the fire and guided the geometry and proportions of the new Gothic structure, ensuring the site's history was literally built into its foundations. Around the same time, the School of Chartres stood as a beacon of medieval intellectual life. Bishop Fulbert turned the cathedral precinct into a European hub of learning in the 11th and 12th centuries, attracting scholars like Bernard of Chartres and William of Conches. They studied sacred geometry, cosmology, and the works of classical philosophers, concepts that you can practically read in the cathedral's architecture and sculptures. By the 13th century, Chartres was not only a pilgrimage hotspot, but also a masterpiece of devotion, art, and scientific thought, all woven into stone, glass, and story. The faithful came to pray, the curious to marvel, and in every shaft of colored light and carved figure, you sense the mind and spirit of medieval Europe elevated toward the divine. And that's the story beneath the surface that's waiting for us to sketch and decode. Chartres Cathedral is widely regarded as the pinnacle of high Gothic architecture, but what sets it apart isn't just scale, it's precision. Everything about its structure is tuned like a sacred instrument. Its proportions, window placements, and even the curvature of its flying buttresses. The cathedral measures 130 meters long, with a nave that soars over 36 meters high. Yet it maintains perfect acoustic harmony throughout, a feat not easily replicated even today. It's not just a building, it's a spatial experience crafted with intention and intuition. Its most iconic external feature is the asymmetrical twin towers, which tell a visual story of architectural evolution. The South Tower is an older and Romanesque in style, solid, square, almost fortress-like. The North Tower, completed in the 16th century, is flamboyant Gothic, spiky, airy, and filled with intricate open work. Rather than clash, the contrast feels intentional, like two different voices singing in harmony across centuries. From a storytelling perspective, they represent duality, stability, and aspiration. But it's the portal sculptures, especially the royal portal on the west facade, that really begin to reveal the deeper genius of Chartres. The jam statues are some of the earliest examples of Gothic sculpture in France, depicting elongated, serene kings and queens from the Old Testament. They aren't just biblical figures, they're archetypes, embodiments of sacred rulership, divine wisdom, and cosmic order. Every detail in their posture and placement speaks of alignment between heaven and earth. Inside, the labyrinth on the floor of the nave becomes a focal point of spiritual architecture. Pilgrims once walked it as a symbolic journey to Jerusalem or toward enlightenment. The labyrinth spans over 12 meters in diameter and contains exactly 11 concentric rings, not 12. That's not a mistake. Some esoteric scholars believe the missing 12th ring symbolizes the unseeable truth, the final step you must take spiritually, not physically. It's an architecture as metaphor designed to be felt. And then there's the stained glass. Chartres contains more original medieval stained glass than any other cathedral in the world. Over 150 windows, nearly all preserved from the 12th and 13th centuries. The famed Chartres blue, a deep cobalt hue found in the Virgin window, is still unmatched by modern chemists. These windows don't just filter light, they tell stories, with over 5,000 figures spanning from Genesis to Revelation, weaving together the theological and the agricultural and the cosmic. Above it all, the rose windows, especially the north transept rose, function as symbolic mandalas. The north rose depicts the Virgin surrounded by Old Testament prophets, set within a cosmic wheel of light. Meant to be read both visually and meditatively, these windows aren't just decoration, they were tools for contemplation, designed to educate the illiterate and initiate the spiritually curious. Chartres doesn't just impress, it speaks. Stepping into Chartres Cathedral is like entering a different dimension. The air shifts, sound dampens, light doesn't just illuminate, it moves, flows, and refracts in ways that feel intentional. The space is massive, yet it doesn't feel cold or cavernous, it feels alive. Unlike many Gothic cathedrals that overwhelm with verticality, Chartres wraps around you. The nave rises over 120 feet, but it's the proportion and harmony of the space that makes it feel sacred, not just big. One of the most surreal things inside is how light behaves. The cathedral is oriented so that during the summer solstice, a beam of sunlight hits a specific brass marker in the floor at noon. That's not coincidence, that's celestial architecture. The windows were designed not only to filter divine light, but to time it, sculpt it, and direct it. As the sun shifts, it animates the stained glass, setting the biblical stories into motion like a slow cosmic slideshow. The Chartres blue found in many of the windows creates an atmosphere that's oddly emotional. The deep cobalt tone absorbs sound so everything feels quieter under its glow. It's not just a visual experience, it's auditory. When Gregorian chants echo in the nave, the stone walls and ribbed vaults tune the building into an instrument. Low frequencies resonate like thunder, high notes seem to disappear into the heavens, and Chartres was built with this in mind. Its acoustics tuned like a symphony hall for sacred sound. At the center of the floor lies the labyrinth, and while it might look decorative at first glance, it's one of the most profound features of the entire cathedral. Unlike a maze which is meant to confuse, a labyrinth has only one path. Pilgrims walked it slowly, meditatively, sometimes on their knees, as an act of spiritual transformation. Walking it now, you feel a strange stillness settle around you. The geometry draws your mind inward. It's a journey through space, but also through self. The columns and vaulting rise like branches of stone forest, drawing the eye upward, always upward, toward the light-drenched clerestory. The symbolism is clear. This is not just architecture, it's a ritual in stone. Every rib, arch, and frame works together to direct your perception, from the mundane towards the mystical. And because Chartres has remained so intact, walking through it today feels like stepping back in time, into the very minds and hearts of its medieval creators. Even silence inside Chartres carries meaning. There are moments when the stillness is so complete that your own breath becomes intrusive. And in that silence, you can almost hear it, the whisper of devotion, the resonance of sacred geometry, the echo of something ancient. This isn't just a cathedral, it's a container of presence, and presence is the true material it's built from. At the heart of Chartres' enduring power is a single object, the Sancta Camisia, the sacred tunic said to have been worn by the Virgin Mary during the birth of Christ. This relic housed within the cathedral's treasury made Chartres one of the most important pilgrimage destinations in medieval Europe. But beyond its devotional pull, the Commedia also elevated Chartres into a symbol of Marian worship, which deeply influenced the cathedral's art and architecture. Nearly every sculptural figure, stained glass narrative, and symbolic motif centers around Mary, not just as Christ's mother, but as a cosmic queen. Statues of the Virgin appear everywhere, but not passively. She is enthroned, crowned, and positioned at the axis of spiritual power. The cathedral's main west rose window features the Virgin in majesty surrounded by kings and prophets, placing her not only in heaven but also at the center of cosmic order. This wasn't just artistic devotion, it was theology in stone, the idea that Mary was the link between heaven and earth and the human and the divine. The portal sculptures are some of the richest sources of symbolic meaning. The royal portal's lintels and columns are lined with biblical kings and queens, shown in serene, elongated poses. But these are more than holy figures, they act as guardians of sacred knowledge, like the threshold keepers in ancient mystery schools. Step through these portals and you're not just entering a church, you're crossing into a world designed to teach through symbol. Above the doors, Christ appears as a cosmic judge, enthroned with a mandalora, surrounded by the symbols of the four evangelists: man, lion, ox, and eagle. These aren't just biblical references, they're also alchemical symbols representing the four elements and fixed signs of the zodiac. Chartres merges Christian doctrine with esoteric systems, using universal symbols to reach both the devout and the initiated. Further inside, the symbolism grows more abstract. The labyrinth, still visible in the nave, has been interpreted not only as a pilgrimage map, but as a blueprint of the universe. Some believe it encodes sacred geometry tied to the golden ratio and planetary movements. The labyrinth's center lies directly under the cathedral spire, aligning body, earth, and sky in one perfect axis. Whether by design or devotion, Chartres is tuned to something bigger than itself. And perhaps the most mysterious symbol of all lies not in the visible architecture, but in what's buried beneath it. Chartres was constructed on a hill that once hosted a Druidic well and sacred spring, long before Christianity reached Gaul. The crypt still contains a Black Madonna statue, cloaked in mystery and often associated with the Earth Mother. Her continued presence suggests that Chartres was never meant to erase the past, but to absorb and elevate it, building a Christian temple over an ancient spiritual ground. Chartres Cathedral is more than a masterpiece of medieval architecture. It's a precision-engineered expression of sacred geometry. Every measurement, angle, and placement in the cathedral appears to be based on a set of mathematical principles tied to the golden ratio 1.618, the square root of 2, and the Vesca Pisces, a geometric form created when two circles overlap, long associated with divine proportion and balance. The entire floor plan reflects this form, repeated in arches, portals, and even the spatial relationships between transepts and towers. Scholars and esoteric researchers alike have marveled at how the builders of Chartres encoded astronomical alignments into the structure. The cathedral is oriented so that during the summer solstice, a beam of sunlight enters through a specific stained glass window and lands on a metallic plate embedded in the floor, marking noon with astounding accuracy. It's a celestial event built into the very architecture, suggesting that the builders understood not just theology, but astronomy, optics, and timekeeping. The proportions of the building are also believed to mirror the human body and the cosmos, forming a kind of microcosm of divine order. The ratio of the nave to the transept, the placement of the rose windows, and the relationship between the width and the height of the choir all conform to classical harmonic ratios. This mathematical consistency wasn't just aesthetic, it was spiritual. Medieval architects believed that geometry was the handwriting of God, and Chartres is covered in it. Even the labyrinth is geometrically loaded. Its 11 concentric rings are believed to represent the phases of initiation, the journey of the soul, or the path to enlightenment. Its diameter measures precisely the same as the rose window above it, creating a vertical axis of spiritual energy from heaven, the rose, to earth, the labyrinth. This hidden alignment makes the cathedral not just a space of worship, but a spiritual machine designed to elevate consciousness. Some researchers believe the entire structure encodes a map of the universe. The positioning of windows aligns with celestial constellations, and the proportions of the towers reflect astrological principles. This architectural zodiac theory suggests that the builders of Chartres viewed the cosmos as a divine template, and the cathedral as a symbolic projection of it. Whether you believe this or not, it's undeniable that the cathedral's design reflects a cosmic awareness that defies its time. All of this was accomplished without modern technology, no computers, no digital renderings, just chalk lines, wooden compasses, and deep spiritual vision. Chartres remains an unsolved riddle of design genius, built by minds who saw math not just as a tool but as a sacred language, capable of revealing divine truth through stone. For centuries, Chartres Cathedral has drawn not just pilgrims but seekers, those who believe the building itself holds encoded truths far older than Christianity. Beneath its foundations lies a sacred spring, once used in pre-Christian rituals by Celtic Druids. According to legend, this was a place of healing and prophecy. The cathedral wasn't built to cover this site, it was built to amplify it, channeling the earth's energy upward through stone, glass, and light. Many believe this is why you can feel Chartres vibrating, spiritually, energetically, and magnetically. One of the most compelling esoteric elements is the Black Madonna hidden in the crypt. Unlike the radiant blue-robed Virgin found in the stained glass, this version is dark-skinned, solemn, and earthy. Some scholars link her to ancient fertility goddesses like Isis or Cybele, suggesting the cathedral preserves not only Christian dogma, but the divine feminine in its rawest form. Pilgrims still descend into the crypt to pray before her, treating the space like a womb, quiet, dark, and profoundly charged. Then there's the theory that Chartres was a Templar stronghold. The Knights Templar, protectors of sacred knowledge and rumored keepers of the Holy Grail, had deep connections with Gothic cathedral construction. Some claim the labyrinth, rose windows, and floor geometry reflect a Templar initiation path, mirroring the stages of spiritual awakening. While proof is scarce, the symbolism aligns. Sacred numbers, directional alignments, and iconography consistent with esoteric Christianity. Another striking feature is how Chartres encodes astrological and alchemical knowledge. The zodiac appears subtly in stained glass windows, aligned not as decoration but as cosmic markers. The rose windows reflect not only biblical themes but also the cycles of the sun, moon, and planets, suggesting the builders had a sophisticated understanding of celestial mechanics. In alchemical tradition, light is symbolic of divine knowledge, and at Chartres, light isn't just illumination, it's doctrine. Some even theorize that Chartres acts as a resonance chamber for vibrational energy. The geometry, materials, and orientation may allow it to harness telluric currents, subtle energy flows within the earth. This links to the cathedral's position by an ancient ley line network believed to connect sacred sites across Europe. When you stand inside Chartres and feel an inexplicable stillness or vibration, you might be tuning into a natural force the builders knew how to tap into and protect. And perhaps the most haunting idea of all, that Chartres was built not just to teach, but to guard a secret. Whether it's the location of a hidden relic, a sacred formula encoded in the floor plan, or a metaphysical technology beyond our grasp, many believe the cathedral is a vault of hidden wisdom, accessible only to those who know how to see through the stone. And maybe, just maybe, that's why it's never been destroyed, rebuilt, or redesigned. Because some places aren't meant to be changed, they're meant to be unlocked. Chartres isn't just a cathedral, it's a whisper from another world, a place where art, mystery, and geometry fuse into something alive. It's not the tallest, it's not the flashiest, but maybe that's the point. The power of Chartres lies in what it doesn't say out loud. It waits for the curious, the seekers, the ones willing to look twice. And if you do, you might just find that the cathedral is staring back at you. So what did I miss? What symbols stood out to you? What theories blew your mind or made you raise an eyebrow? Drop your thoughts in the comments, because I read every single one of them. And if you enjoyed this deep dive, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications, because we've got a lot more sketch-fueled mysteries coming soon. And if you want to see which cathedral we sketch and decode next, comment below with your favorite mysterious landmark, and you might just see it featured. Thank you. You can support my work and follow along with Instagram, TikTok. These videos take hours of research, travel, and drawing, so every like, comment, and share genuinely helps fuel the next one. Thank you for being here. Stay curious, stay sketching, and I'll see you in the next story.